South Africa, Australia, Perth, home from home.
Yes.
Taking into account the travel and scrum issues that the Boks have had, how do you see the guys doing?
Now, this is it's a nervous game, I think, for all of us. For one thing, both teams taking part, I think, are a little bit fragile at the moment. The Wallabies are coming off a bit of a correction, if you like, after they started so well with that 12-all home draw with the All Blacks. Everybody thought, oh, the Wallabies are right back here, aren't they? And then, of course, they got thumped 51-20 at Eden Park, which was a real blow to their egos. But having said that, look how the South African ego was popped when they went to Argentina, and you saw a Springbok pack being run backwards in the scrums. I mean, that was as close to humiliation as you can possibly get. So I just think mentally both teams go into this game a little bit fragile. It could be important that whichever team stamps its authority in the first 10 minutes might well be the one that goes on to take this game, because it'll be a sign of which team has actually corrected itself mentally the best from the last games. Let's not forget the Springboks didn't lose the last match. That's one thing in their favour.
Feels like we did.
I know it does, but let's not forget it was a win. They won. The scoreboard says 33-31. So South Africa did bank the win, and I think they'll take a lot of comfort from the fact that they played so poorly, yet did win. It tells you that there's still a bit of ticker there, there's still some passion. And I think that despite a few selection issues that I'm not that comfortable with this current side for the Wallaby game, I think South Africa might just do enough to get across the line. But I think I'm as nervous as the next guy on the street corner in South Africa about what might happen in this game.
You say selections that you sort of not sure about. Well, which ones in particular?
I'm very. I have definitely a worry about that outside centre berth. Damien Dalende, of course, had 2 games. He's already a bit of a fish out of water because he's an inside centre, as we know, and they tried to convert him into an outside centre. Maybe he was making a little bit of headway, I don't know. But now he's been unceremoniously dumped. Jan Serfontein comes in, ostensibly to play at outside centre, although I gather that he and Jean de Villiers may well be interchangeable during the game, which I think would be a very good idea, because I think you need to see Serfontein running in that number 12 channel a fair bit. He's much more familiar with it. I don't think he's a natural 13 at all. I don't think he's got the sort of outside centre's attributes. He's definitely much more of or he's almost born to be an inside centre, I think. Whereas Jean de Villiers is a very admirably flexible sort of centre. He's proved before that he can play in the outside channel. So I'm not saying it'll be a disaster in that area, but I'm not comfortable with the sort of the chemistry, the potential chemistry of that combination. That's one area where we might have a problem. The other issue, of course, is the Morné Steyn, Ruan Pienaar thing. You and I were chatting ahead of this broadcast about Ruan Pienaar, and he's under pressure to produce what you might call an authoritative performance. We've waited a long time for that to happen, for him really to take a game by the scruff of the neck. There are certain things that he does very well. We know that he's got a sound kicking game. He's got lots of experience, but Pienaar, Steyn at 9 and 10, is that perhaps not, a lot of people will be saying, is that not taking the Boks backwards a little bit from this new, vibrant, more kind of, multifaceted rugby that they've been trying to introduce, getting Willie Leroux much more centrally involved in attacking plays? Is that going to be stifled a little bit by that particular combination at 9 and 10? I don't know. But there is talk of a wet weather game. So under those circumstances, both Pienaar and Steyn could come into their own quite effectively and actually possibly even be match winners if it's going to be a low scoring game where perhaps penalties and field position are going to be a fairly big factor.